people do not audit and look at the things that can make their relationships work, or the things that they need to mitigate before it destroys their marriages. People do not like to have conversations. People do not like to have uncomfortable conversations. That is a major part of why we see marriages suffer. And while he was talking about this thing, he said he's going to be doing a book eventually. And when he's done with the book, so he was kind of coy with some of the information he was going to give me. As much as he could tell me, as much as he pointed some things out, he told me about the fact that that a lot of people do not read. People read to prosper their businesses. They read to maybe learn a trade or learn a skill or something. But how many people are reading or studying or going to classes to have beautiful married lives? How many people are investing in their marriages by going for seminars that are talking about marriages, that are talking about, connecting better as a couple? How many people are willing to spend 3 hours at a conference talking and addressing the things that are constantly destroying marriages and family bonds everywhere? Based on his research, he gave a number that, of course, is still his research. I cannot start putting those numbers out on air, but it would alarm you to know that a whole lot of people do not even see reason why they should sit with their spouses and say, "Nne," or "Daddy-wa," or "my wife," or "my husband. Let's have this conversation about this thing that we've both ignored for the last 6 months." It could be finances. It could be finances. It could be parenting styles. It could be your in-laws. It could be your finances. But then I was able to establish something on Monday. If you listen to Family Matters on Monday, we talked about the fact that there are so many things and there are so many reasons why you should constantly audit your marriage and your relationship within the confines of marriage. And some of those things are external, some of those things are internal, some of those things are changes that naturally come because you both used to live separate lives and then you chose to come stay together. So if you're choosing that new journey, there is a very huge likelihood that your language and your language, you both might be speaking English, but you don't speak it the same way. So your language, your mode of communication, your mode of following through on a disagreement or something, or your mode of making new things known. You're adding a new thing to your family and you didn't properly discuss it and you think the other person is just going to go with it. Some people want you to sit down and tell them that, okay, so I used to earn 1 million naira. Oh, I'm earning 1 million naira, but the value of that 1 million naira has reduced because the cost of everything has increased and we still have to do other things. Some people do not know that they need to sit down with their spouses to discuss this. You might be married to someone who you don't need to discuss that with, but then there are certain people on the planet that you must discuss those kind of things with for them to understand that there is a regime change. And this is the reason why you need to audit your relationship. There are reasons you need to, and there are reasons you must. There are reasons that will arise because things are changing around the world, and there are reasons that would arise because you had a disagreement or something is not working any longer and you need to change your modus operandi. Now, first of all, auditing your marriage, according to my mentor, is conducting a relationship check. It is a relationship checkup. He put it that way. He said, auditing your marriage is like conducting a relationship checkup. It helps identify, strengthen, and bolster your relationship. It will help you identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and areas for improvement. So, you could see why it is totally necessary for this to happen. You're identifying, it's sort of a SWOT analysis. Your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities that come from all of these things, and the likes. So an audit of your relationship within the confines of marriage, and even as you approach marriage as a single person, is a very, very important thing. Because marriage will put all that you know and believe to the test. It will put everything that you believe and you know to the test. It will make the good things even better. And it will make the things that are not so good, it would make them even bigger. So, If you have not had time to talk about all of these things holistically, it might then become a problem. And on family matters, one thing what we're looking to do is to see that we're helping our family members, people who listen to Super FM, achieve maximum life impact. Even in marriage, whether you're planning it or you're already in it, we want to make sure that the things you do, the conversations you're having as a married couple, whether the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is, that you are able to get the best results. Now, just as businesses audit their finances to ensure long-term success, please listen again. Just as businesses audit their processes to ensure long-term success, so they're not just successful in the first year and in the next 5 years they're struggling, and after those 5 years they're thinking, should we fold up, should we sack all of our staff, they do an audit to to make sure that all of their processes and personnel are maximized. So just as businesses do that, couples can audit their marriage to maintain a healthy and fulfilling relationship. And to do that, here are a few things that you need to look out for. Here are a few things that would help you. It could be a start, because you may have been married for 10 years and you've never even done an audit once. Yeah, people have been married for forever, and all that they do is pay bills and have kids. And then every time something happens, they quarrel, they fight, they move on. Yes, it is necessary that the quarrels and the fights will come up. But then there are certain things that you can avoid because you do what we call a relationship audit. I'll be going on a quick breather. When I come back from that one, I'll be telling you a few things that you can start to work with your partner along a line, just to bring you from a place of we don't know what we're doing, or we're just going to take each day as it comes, to, well, we will take each day as it comes, but we will be better prepared to make sure that we stay together as one happy family. It is Super FM 92.7, your one family, one radio station. This is Family Matters. We're here to make sure that your family ties are stronger than ever. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. family ties, auditing your marriage, auditing your relationship with your spouse, auditing your family processes, just to make it a better thing, just to make it a longer lasting thing, just to prepare you better for the challenges that life will throw at you within the marriage union. There are many reasons you should audit your relationship. Now, one of the major reasons you should audit your relationship as a married man, woman, or someone who is in the confines or flowing towards the direction of marital life is to strengthen communication. Communication. Whether it is written, whether it is verbal, whether it is whatever methods or signals you use to communicate, whatever types of communication you have in your marriage, auditing it to make sure that it is seamless and understandable is a very, very, very important thing that you must get to. Regularly evaluating your marriage helps identify any communication gaps. You can assess whether you are actively listening, expressing feelings effectively, and resolving conflicts in a healthy way. So these are the three things that strengthening communication will do. It will help you assess whether you are actively listening. So are you a good listener when you are auditing? So if you are the type of man like myself that your wife would tell that, oh, I told you this thing 3 times last week. I said it to you that you were pressing your phone at the time. You said you were responding to a work message or you were monitoring something. Now I said this thing to you last week. I said it last night. I've said it this morning. And you are saying I didn't say it. When you are doing those kind of audits and you're having a conversation with your wife or your husband, that's starting to tell you that you're not a very good listener. So do you want to sit with your wife and say, okay, when we have to discuss pressing issues, just make sure that it is not at the time when I am actively busy for work, not when I'm responding to a work mail or something. So I'll put my phone down, I'll look at you, and if need be, I'll write notes. Okay, so I have a boss who is like, I don't like it when you come to my meetings with your phone in your hand or your laptop. I want to see you writing, because when you write, you take it away. I go and look at it again that you wrote these things down. So whatever it is that would ensure that you've gotten the point, maybe you need to take notes and write it down and say, oh, this conversation that my wife is having with me, we're going to have it for 30 minutes today, and I'm going to take notes. So in this conversation today, she said we need to increase how much, that the cost of gas has gone up. So 12 kg that used to be this amount has now become this amount. She also said that all the kids, their school socks and everything are worn out. We need to buy new ones. And she said we have to upgrade their books as well. And what we give them for pocket money is not enough. So when you now look at all of those things and you're like, oh, she said all of these things, but then I didn't respond properly to say, oh, you're asking for this extra, but do you know that my income has not improved? What alternatives can we have? Then you know that you have listened and you have given a response that is valid to the conversation, not something that, oh, I've told you this. Arguments sometimes just come up because we've not been attentive listeners. We've not been following through on conversations. We've just been hearing. We're not listening to assimilate and give a response, because sometimes women really, really lose their tempers with their husbands when they say something to them and it seems like they're ignoring them, and they say, oh, I've heard you. You've heard me, but in hearing me, are you not going to give me a response that shows that you're also thinking about a solution? Because if someone is speaking to you to get an answer that is supposed to provide a solution and you are just listening to say, okay, I've heard you, it shows you're not paying attention. So strengthening communication is one of the reasons you must audit your relationship. It helps you identify unspoken issues. Now, one of the things that happens over time in a marriage or in a relationship is that you guys have become so accustomed to each other, you've seen each other too much, that a little bit of disrespect and neglect comes into it. It's not something that is deliberate, but you've seen each other so much, you know each other's routine so much, you understand each other so much that there are certain things that you just ignore. And in doing that, you've forgotten that the other person is feeling a lot of pain from the fact that this has become a if she don't talk and say she get a headache and I don't talk, say sorry. But then this woman came and told you 3 months ago she had a headache. And then she's coming again this week to telling you that she has the same headache. And you've never for once profiled that, oh, should we go to the hospital? Do you want to see a gynecologist? Do you want to see, okay, having conversations about these unspoken issues. Now, some problems in marriage go unnoticed or unspoken until they become major issues. An audit helps you bring underlying concerns to the surface before they escalate. So, by the fact that you are auditing, that you are sitting with your wife on a plain Sunday afternoon and saying, okay, madam, on Wednesday you sent me this message while I was at the office. Please, I don't understand it. Let's sit down and talk about it now. It is something that shows that, oh, you remember and you are paying attention, and then you can talk about the underlying issues before they become an eruptive situation that will now cause quarrel. Then your children will now start wondering, do mommy and daddy not love each other? You can avoid all these quarrels by actually having conversations beforehand that open your mind to the issues. So auditing is necessary to identify unspoken issues. Another reason why auditing is necessary is to ensure emotional and physical intimacy. It ensures emotional and physical intimacy. Intimacy is a major part of any marriage. I heard this song from someone once. He said, the reason you're getting married is not because you want to have children. It's because intimacy, companionship, and all of those things are important to God. God saw that the man and the woman were alone. That was why the man was alone. That's why he brought the woman to him, so that he will not be alone. He will meet someone that is like him, and they can have conversations, and intimacy can come into it. That's why when the man saw the woman for the first time, he said, wow, this is beautiful. This is the bone of my bone and the flesh of my flesh. Because he had seen the other animals, and he had seen them, doing things. And then he said, so why am I the only one of my kind? Marriage is so that you are not the only one of your kind. Then eventually, procreation comes into the story. But then, that's a conversation for another day. So, over time, life responsibilities, work, kids, stress can create distance between partners. An audit helps assess whether both partners feel emotionally and physically connected. It is necessary that you audit relationship for this reason. Now, auditing your relationships help you reevaluate shared goals and priorities. There are priorities and shared goals in every relationship. People change over time, and so do their aspirations. A marriage audit ensures that both parties are aligned and their goals are still looking towards the same way.